Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show where we work through all the shows that are in development. We talk about anything else that popped up this week in terms of casting updates, renewals, cancellations. At the end of the show, we will pick our favourite episode of TV of the week and give you some updates as to what's coming up on the channel and the audio feeds for all different reviews. So, that's what's going to happen. This is our TV news show. I feel like a bit of small talk before we start. How are you, Connor?
Yeah, light week, I take it.
It's not that light a week. I feel weird barreling into the first news story. It feels weird not to give you a chance to just say something.
I am awful because it's far too warm and I'm just uncomfortable all the time.
It is far too warm. I am deeply uncomfortable all the time.
I just don't like it. I just feel like I need to have a lot of afternoon naps. And on to top that off, I've not been sleeping that well, so I'm just kind of warm and tired. It's not a great combination.
Nah, sheets sticking to your legs and...
Yeah, get like 4 showers a day just to cool down.
Yeah, no, it's miserable. It's miserable. Yeah. Joe, it would be nice. Some rain.
That'd be lovely. A nice thunderstorm.
The rain has been renewed at Netflix for season 2.
Very good.
Look at that! Look at that! That was professional as shit.
That was pretty good. I'll give you that.
So that is the Danish original. We did watch the first couple episodes. We kind of opted out. We might have stuck with it, but we were really busy. In fact, the other shows that we were covering at the same time are still not quite finished. We've still got a few left of Dear White People and 3%, which will be coming over the next week. Yeah, we're recording the next 3% tomorrow.
It's quieting down a bit.
Yes, but yeah. So the rain's been renewed. So I'm happy for fans of the show. That it's coming back. I believe it did set up a lot of stuff from a few of the comments.
It's interesting. I've not seen a lot of buzz for it. I'm not seeing a lot of chatter on Twitter or anything like that.
I wonder if there's a lot of talk in Denmark though.
Might well be, yeah.
Like maybe it's like a big deal there, and then there's just enough residual foreign sort of
sense,
interest that it's happening. But yeah, so the rain's been renewed. Also, Legion's been renewed for season 3 at FX, so that's coming back next year. Cool. That's cool. Next up, Netflix have announced the premiere date for the second half of Kimmy Schmidt season 2.
Oh yeah, how long do you have to wait? Do you mean 4?
Sorry?
Season 4, right?
Yes, first half is just
you
launched.
said season 2.
Did I say season 2? Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I think it was because I was thinking of part 2. Season 4, yeah. Season 4, first half just launched. It's part 2. This is actually quite early for Netflix to announce this. Season 4, part 2 is coming on the 25th of January, 2019.
Jesus Christ, it's taking them that long to churn out 6 or 7 sitcom episodes.
6 episodes, and they're still planning on a movie after that to wrap it up.
Okay. I'm wondering if there's something that we're not aware of behind the scenes in terms of scheduling.
Maybe some of the actors or whatever are busier doing other things, or
now they know it's come to an end. They've started booking in the next projects, and now they're going to kind of work around that.
Speaking of premiere dates, though, here's one that's exciting. Better Call Saul season 4 is going to premiere August 6th.
Good. We were hearing late summer, early fall anyway, but so this lines up.
It lines up.
Sooner the better, frankly.
Sooner the better. It's also a nice quiet period, which means it gets to just bask and be the crown jewel of the week.
It does. It'll be nice to just have that to look forward to every week.
Yes. Also premiering the same night on AMC is Lodge 49. I've got a description here because it's a new show, so you're probably like, hey.
I don't recall this one.
I do remember the title. I've brought this up before, but obviously we've forgotten what it is. So here's the description. A light-hearted, endearing modern fable set in Long Beach, California, about a disarmingly optimistic local ex-surfer named Dud, who's drifting after the death of his father and collapse of the family business. Dud serendipitously finds himself on the doorstep of a rundown fraternal lodge, where a middle-aged plumbing salesman and luminous knight, that's in quotation marks, of the order, Ernie, welcomes him into a world of cheap beer, easy camaraderie, and the promise of alchemical mysteries that may, or may not, put Dud on the path to recover the idyllic life. I was distracted by your hiccup.
I'm sorry.
That he's lost. It's a light-hearted sort of comedy drama, but the sounds of it.
Yeah, I do remember this one now.
Yeah, Lodge 49. That's premiering after Better Call Saul in August. So I think a big lead-in at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say using it as a strong lead-in.
So that's cool. Next up, this was big news that I did insert last week into the show, because we talked a lot about the possibility of this happening, and it felt weird when the news broke while I was editing not to just edit in a little snippet of me saying, hey, this actually happened. Yeah, more on it next week, but Happy news. So the Expanse is officially being saved by Amazon. Bezos made the announcement at the National Space Society's International Space Development Conference. That was a mouthful of a title. Last Friday. So he announced
full of nerds.
Some of the cast were there because there was an Expanse panel at this event earlier that same day.
Because its science is all realistic and shit.
Yes, exactly. The science
it is actually pretty damn realistic. I said that really sarcastically for some reason.
The science community enjoy the Expanse, apparently, so they were there talking about it.
We get a lot of scientific corrections and prods from our audience.
We do, yes. They fill in some of our atrocious knowledge in the comments
for us. It's appreciated.
But no, so this is happy news. Super exciting. This felt like Christmas. See, when I saw this news broke, it was like I got excited. Like this wasn't just that's nice. It was like yes, like it's been saved. Like I was in a good mood for the rest of the weekend. I was ecstatic.
I woke up, and you know how Twitter sometimes gives you notifications of this person's tweeted. You might you might be interested in this tweet. And it was so I hadn't seen any actual news yet, and it was the writer of the books that account saying thank you Bezos.
Yes.
I was like oh hello, and then I was like get quick, let me get some details.
Yes.
I was like that's a pretty safe confirmation, I think.
Yes, my favourite running joke in the past week since Bezos made that announcement is Bezos is that guy. People have been spamming that a lot in the last week, and I approve of it. It. That's a reference to the show itself. If you've not been watching the show, go back and watch the show. Now it's continuing. You know it's going to keep going. Go back and watch it and catch up on the Expanse.
Interesting to see how much Amazon had to pay for international rights, given that there's a deal with Netflix internationally for the
Why
first
do you
3
assume
seasons.
they have done that?
Well, I mean, I think it would be. I feel like Amazon probably don't want to just jump in at season 4. Every other example I can think of a streaming service picking up a show to continue, they have picked up the entire show.
No, I get why you're saying that, and it's an interesting question to ask. I just think it's interesting that you just assume that it's happened, rather than questioning has it happened. You assume that it has.
Like I said, because every other experience has had that happen, so it's my assumption that it has.
It probably has. Bezos has got the money to.
Yeah, Amazon are rich as shit. As you may have seen some reports in the last few weeks about just how much money he has.
Yes. All the old media companies are shaking in their boots because Netflix and Amazon are eating all the pie.
Yeah, they are.
In fact, I didn't put this in the news. It was just kind of a tangential thing, but apparently one of the reasons why Comcast wants to get the Fox library is because they're actually worried about not surviving in 10 years because they see all the old media companies as dying out because all these new giants are kind of eating all the pie.
Well, no, it's because Amazon are strong-arming themselves into the market based on everything else they have. It's the same way that supermarkets did with DVDs and Blu-rays and CD sales. They just strong-arm their way onto the market for the high street because they could afford to take the losses. Amazon are doing the same, whereas Netflix have just built up such a brand that their stocks are worth so much that they overtook Disney in the last couple of weeks.
Good, suck it, Disney.
That's fair enough, but they're probably putting out more consistent, better content. Don't get me wrong, but I think it is a real sign of a shift in landscape.
Well, we're doing the movie news after this, and I cannot wait to talk about a certain box office entry. Cannot wait. Wetting my lips just thinking about it. Anyway, so Expanse picked up by Amazon, and we'll see exactly the details at a later time, but it's definitely happening, and everyone's enthusiastic about it. The one final note I'll mention on it is that when he was referring to, at one point he was asked about it, he's like, oh, future seasons will be, Prime exclusives. That's kind of obvious given that they're picking it up, but he's clarifying it. But the interesting thing there was the plural of the word season. Not season 4 will be Prime exclusive. Future seasons will be Prime exclusive. I just think that's a good sign. It's just a good sign.
I think unless there's bombs for them,
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will. It's the same thing that just happened with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It get picks up elsewhere. Even if it does badly, it's the good PR, right? That they get from saving it.
It's a good PR, but I think in this case as well, Expanse actually just belongs better on Amazon. I think Amazon and Netflix are a better home. It means a worldwide audience on the same platform. It means all these different things. It just there's so many reasons why it just makes sense. So hey,
the Expanse is expanding.
That was awful.
It was, but it had to be said because it popped into my head, and I've got no filter today apparently.
So let's talk about something else. This is something we don't normally talk about on this show.
Oh.
Roseanne.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
And we have to. Like, sometimes things just happen. They're so big in the news that we just have to talk about it because, oh wait, this is actually kind of a big deal. So ABC, despite the Roseanne's revival season, season 10 of the show, or season 1 of the revival, whatever you want to refer to it as, doing gangbuster numbers, like absolutely killing it in the ratings.
We spoke about it getting renewed a few weeks ago.
Yes, it just got renewed. And Roseanne, I think, when this has come up in the past, we might have, alluded to the fact that Roseanne's kind of a piece of shit, and always kind of has been a piece of shit.
We've definitely mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, they may not get into in depth, but she's always been a very strict, right-wing, outspoken, no filter, as you just put it for yourself. She has no filter, seemingly.
Yeah.
And if she is filtering it, and I'm terrified to think what the unfiltered version is.
That's it. Thankfully, me without a filter is a bit safer.
Yeah. Yes. It's painful to listen to, but it's safer. So ABC's cancelled Roseanne immediately. Like, this was like, I think hours after the tweet, because this was all from a tweet that Roseanne made, a very racist tweet. Within hours of this, and before this even happened, there was already like writers of the show like quitting, and leaving. Wanda Sykes, who was a writer on the show, who's also an actress, and she works on other shows on ABC. She'd already quit. Like within this short time window, she'd quit. ABC put out a statement, and I laughed at the statement because this is the shortest press release I have ever seen from a major company. It
is like a sentence.
Because I'm going to read you the entire press release. I never do that, because normally there are pages and pages of gobbledygook that is, painful to sit through. This was the entire press release. Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant and inconsistent with our values, and we have decided to cancel her show. The end. The end. It's done.
Yeah. That's all it took.
That's all it took. It was just like that.
Do you know what I like most about this?
Go on.
You can fit that in a tweet. You can fit that in an old 140 character tweet, I'm sure.
You can fit it in a tweet. That is the extent. And
there's a beautiful irony to that, isn't there?
What I like about it is that it didn't. Obviously, I think you can criticize. I think it's right to be kind of a little bit, roll the eyes at ABC a little bit, and when they announced the show in the first place, given Roseanne's history, because this is not out of nowhere. This is not something that's surprising from Roseanne.
Right. This same person, I can't remember her name now, who has cancelled this, is the one that greenlit it in the first place.
Presumably, yeah.
No, she is.
She is. Okay, for sure.
I've seen that being put around. Yeah.
But I think you can't not applaud this for this quick action, especially in the face of this was doing super well. This was their highest rated show, I think, at least out of the comedies this season, and they had renewed it. Now it's cancelled. It's left a gaping hole in the schedule for the fall. Like, you can't not applaud how quick this was, and everyone's coming out and Bob Iger apparently. The head of Disney. He's like, no, this was the right move. He's the head of all the companies.
He was the person that she was talking about in the tweet. He phoned her and apologized, which is quite insane, right?
Yeah, no. Which of course everyone was waiting for Trump's bullshit response to this. He made it about him. Iger never apologized to me for things he's done. Shut up,
for things that they've said about me on ABC.
True things. Facts.
Yeah. Horrible. I've got his 2 year here. I thought it was amused because he says Bob Iger of ABC, not of Disney, of ABC.
Of ABC.
That's really putting him down there, right?
I feel like, I don't know, Trump may just not understand what Bob Iger's role is in the company.
Probably, yeah. Called to let her know that ABC does not tolerate comments like these made by Roseanne. Gee, he never called President Donald J. Trump to apologize for the horrible statements made and said about me on ABC. Maybe I just didn't get the call.
I actually have to wonder if Trump's just jealous because Iger's might be richer than he is at this point.
He probably is.
I don't know what they're both
I'm willing
worth.
to stake my
but
very limited savings on it.
I think I've turned the negative corner and not allowed to be called savings. I think they're literally losses.
Yeah, no, that is how economy works.
It's not like if I failed to save 5 people and they were all dead, I wouldn't be saying my limited, life-saving experience. That's not experience. You literally failed at it.
No, that's not true. Just because you failed does not mean it wasn't an experience. You still have that experience. It was a bad experience, but you have the experience.
If you were hiring me to protect your life and I just failed and let 5 people die, would you hire me for it?
Probably not. But
well, straight your face then. My point stands. So this was all the news. Like for a few days this week, it was first of all the news of cancellation, all the other cast and so responding. Some of them were very outspoken. Some John Goodman was like, I don't want to talk about it, please just leave me alone. Like I just don't.
They're the people I feel bad for. Everyone else who worked on the show.
Oh yeah, the crew, the writers, the rest of the cast. I mean, it's funny because John Goodman's an actor who he can get more work. He's fine. Laurie Metcalf as well. Like she can get work now. But like, think of all the actors who were playing the kids and stuff, like who, have not had a career probably for 20 years, and this is my chance to come back, and get a nice payday.
Yeah, and I say it's all the staff writers, all the camera people. Like I feel bad for like this was a safe gig for them.
It was. That said, I still think it was the right choice.
It was.
Actions have consequences. Learn it, you stupid cow. We're done.
Yeah. I know that there are people talking about there are rumblings of we'll do a spin-off with everyone else without her.
I've got more here. Before we get to that, though, it's worth mentioning all of the episodes have been removed from syndication. Hulu has pulled all the episodes. All of the affiliates and sub-networks that are owned by Paramount, TV Land and CMT, along with the Paramount Network, who are airing repeats occasionally, have all pulled episodes. I'd heard other networks, smaller places, also doing the same, but those were the big ones.
Something's toxic when even the syndication stuff is like, nope, just get it gone. We can't have this.
Joe, someone posted a cover of a TV guide from the year that Roseanne debuted, right? Whatever year that was, like 1989 or whatever it was,
sure.
Right? And the front cover was Roseanne and Bill Cosby, and the headline was Roseanne's coming to steal Cosby's thunder or something like that, and it was just...
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it was just like, holy
shit.
Like, I just... Madness. So... that is that. But hey, so yeah, there's apparently some rising mumblings about maybe they can continue the show in some way without her, some kind of spin-off. The running rumor right now is that the new show, if it does go through, according to TMZ, would be centered on Sarah Gilbert's character, the daughter.
Right. This feels very similar to what happened with House of Cards.
A little bit. And apparently Gilbert herself has been calling other cast members to see if they'd be interested. Like, if something does happen, are you up for coming back without Roseanne? And apparently, at the very least, John Goodman is reportedly saying that he's very interested. So, I don't see why they wouldn't be. This could be a roaring success.
As far as most of them are concerned, they were coming back next year anyway.
Oh yeah, the slots are open for them to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it be next year though?
No, it'd probably be the year after.
Yeah, I don't think they could do it for this season though. If they have to completely, maybe they could fast track it. I don't know.
Probably fast track for mid-season if they really wanted to.
And it may have been mid-season anyway, because this past season of Roseanne was a mid-season.
That's true. So it's possible, unlikely, but possible.
Yeah. But no. So I mean, obviously, I think they made the right call. I think this was a swift example of, hey, okay, look, there's consequences to you saying shit. The downside is that a bunch of people who just had a job don't have their job anymore. But hey, and apparently the article here even says that ABC were exploring the possibility of trying to quickly deal with the fact that all these people just lost jobs. So even ABC are concerned with that side of it.
Yeah, because again, to go back to House of Cards, this is very much the story where we were talking about that angle is, everyone else on that show just lost their job.
Yeah, because of one person.
And that sucked for them. And what they did, obviously, they didn't actually cancel the show. They just rewrote the season without him. So, I can see a similar thing happening. Just do it without her. And I feel like that's a bigger slap in the face to her, right? It's like, no. This is happening with or without you.
She may make a little bit of money from it because it comes from Roseanne. But, I mean, if she gets some, go away money, I mean, I guess we can live with that. Stay away.
Small price to pay, right?
I wonder if they just call it Darlene. That's the character's name, the daughter.
Right.
And I wonder if it's a case of, oh, Roseanne died between seasons. So,
Yeah.
so now our daughter's the main family character, but we still have uncle or grandfather, John Goodman coming in and whatnot. But no, I also someone's joke on Twitter: what if Laurie Metcalf had a daughter, and what if that daughter was played by Saoirse Ronan?
What's the hell out of that?
That'll tie it in. I saw other people having fun with this week. Netflix were promoting their sitcom that's about like a working class family and saying, hey, if you need a new working class family sitcom that's got intelligent characters and tackles serious issues, we have one.
Yeah, I know. I've seen even people, offering them like, hey, you can do a spin-off of one of my shows, in that slot if you want something. Like
there was the Brian Fuller joked about Pushing Daisies coming back. Charlie Sheen joked about 2.5 Men being picked up. He's like, oh, another celebrity been a fool of themselves. This is worse than me. I was just a drunk high fool saying stupid shit. Like I never got like this.
He is now just the crazy drunk uncle, right? Essentially.
It's crazy to me that in terms of like celebrity meltdowns, Charlie Sheen is now seen as the best case scenario.
Like I said, he's the drunk uncle who comes in at the wedding and runs his mouth, but is ultimately harmless.
So far, but we'll see if we find out anything about his past.
So far,
let's be honest, it wouldn't shock me if he's got a bad history. If we find out a lot of weird shit,
but it would be unfair to say that right now because
yes,
no one has made any accusations as of yet that I'm aware of.
But it says something that I'm half expecting at some point.
That's fair. But then, who are you not half expecting it about at this point?
I'm trying to think of a really funny answer that's the opposite of what you're expecting, and I'm just not thinking of one.
Yeah, but just the fact that you have to actually think about it this hard.
The kid who was in Room, Jacob Tremblay.
I mean, I would really hope so.
I'm basically just playing the odds here because he's so young that it's highly unlikely he's had time to do anything awful to anyone yet.
Yeah, if he's had time to have something covered up, then I'm doing life wrong.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, so Roseanne is bye-bye. Maybe there'll be a spin-off. I mean, I've got no personal stake in the game because I didn't really care about the show, but it was worth talking about because this was a pretty big deal. They turned around and cancelled a show within hours of a racist tweet. And I think in terms of, like, I think it's often spoken about that in terms of dealing with, like, sort of systematic racism, you have to call out people when they do something. And I feel like an example of it in this bigger stage, like, no, your show's just cancelled, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, so
consequences is the point.
Consequences. There should be consequences for these things, and this was an example of that. So, hey, all right, let's move on. Our slightly depressing news story. So you remember the Heathers reboot that was coming, and then it got delayed. It was going to premiere in March, but it was moved because of the Parkland shooting, and then it was set for July 10th. Now it's just not happening. Paramount Television are pulling it completely. And it's sad that this is the reason for it. I mean, it didn't look very good, like it looked kind of shitty. But the reason for it not being aired at all is that the network doesn't feel comfortable airing the series given the current climate. That is sad because I don't think I really wanted the show. I mean, I was morbidly curious because it's Heathers. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really sad because it's like, it's not just a specific incident, no, it's just, this is the climate right now. Is there anything to do, I mean, even though it's meant to be black humour and it's meant to be satirical, anything involving violence in a school right now is just uncomfortable to deal with.
It's just off limits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, I feel bad for the show because, nothing deserves to be cancelled for outside circumstances, for things that aren't its fault.
Oh yeah, it's not the show's fault.
Cancel it because it's shit. It's getting no ratings. By all means, fair enough. I can understand that. Yeah. You work to you earn your ratings. You earn your review. And yeah, sure, it was probably going to get cancelled because it was relatively shite looking and sounding by all the because they gave it like the first half a season to critics.
Yeah, so I mean, so there's a season done, at least half a season done at the very least.
Right.
So. But they're making this call.
Sucks for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is all down to the reason. It's just a sad state of the world right now. This is this is the reason why it can't be aired. But hey, so yeah, Heathers is done. Heathers is not happening.
It's something that'll turn up in a history vault in 20 years, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where I can see in 10 years they'll put it on like iTunes or something. Hey, if you want to see what this was like, you can have a look at it now, because now the time has passed. But hey, there you go. I mean, even the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer had to delay an episode back in '99 because of Columbine.
Yeah, no, it happens. Mr. Robot, it's season 1 finale, or was it the episode before?
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, season 1 finale was pushed. It was only a week, but yeah.
It was only a week, but that was a very direct parallel to what happened that week with the news reporter.
Yeah, that was really unfair, because that was just so specific. That was like really eerie specific how close that was.
It was supposed to air like the next day.
Yeah, so yeah, they probably made the right call. It was frustrating at the time because we really wanted the Mr. Robot finale,
but once we saw it, it was like, oh, I get it.
I get it. Yeah,
I'm surprised this wasn't pushed further.
Yeah. But hey, so that is that. So Heathers is not happening. Next up, here's something. Here's the opposite of not happening. Something that wasn't going to happen now might be happening.
God, what now? What are they threatening me with?
No, this isn't bad news. In fact, it's actually even better news than what it even sounds like at first. So, just to clarify the last few weeks in TV news, right? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. renewed somehow. Brooklyn Nine-Nine saved. Expanse saved. That Lock and Key pilot that probably wasn't going to happen again, even though it's the second pilot and was apparently not bad, might actually still be happening, even though it was dropped by Hulu.
Okay, because I mean, when it was dropped by Hulu, they did say they were going to shop it around.
They did,
and we kind of wrote it off because these things, they say that for every pilot, and it 95% of the time goes nowhere.
Yeah, obviously this is the Joe Hill comic book, Lock and Key. It's based on that. Carlton Cuse, who was the co-showrunner of Lost and a bunch of other stuff, is the one sort of spearheading this and making sure it gets picked up somewhere. Well, apparently, it's in final negotiations for a series order at Netflix.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah, interesting. So, also worth mentioning that they are actually going to recast 2 of the kids. So they are changing it up a little bit. The pilot that was shot isn't going to be the one that's used. But Netflix are in final negotiations to do it.
They like the pilot enough.
Yeah. Interestingly, that means that it'll be a binge thing instead of like a weekly thing, because obviously Hulu does weekly stuff, and a few other reasons. But so Netflix will be licensing the rights to the IP, not picking up the existing Hulu piloted series. It'll undergo redevelopment, including the recasting of 2 of the kids, but they're keeping one of them, so they're not scrapping everything, but they're certainly kind of reworking it a little bit. Here's the part that I like quite a bit out of this. So the director of the pilot was Andy Muschietti, who directed It. But he's too busy working on the sequel, so he won't be reshooting the pilot. Someone else will be directing the new pilot. Okay. I actually kind of like that, because I think he's just an okay director.
He's competent.
Yeah, but he's not exciting, I don't think.
He's not, but I know this is weird, but I don't necessarily need exciting for a TV pilot.
Sure. That's a fair thing to say. But for me, the weakest... I mean, I like the It movie, but the weakest parts were the horror segments. For me, I like the kids. I like the kids' friendship and them, banding together, all that stuff.
No, I agree. And admittedly, I've not read Lock and Key, so I don't know how much of this is kind of playing on that vibe with the kids.
Actually, it might be. I mean, obviously they're brothers and sisters, but yeah, I mean, it might be. But I'm actually kind of pleased with this, because I don't think he's a great... I don't like Mama either. I thought that was a kind of really mediocre movie. So I'm actually pleased with the fact that he's not going to be directing the new pilot. But hey, so his you
say that now until they tell you it's Scott Derrickson.
Oh God, don't say that. Barbara Muschietti is still producing it with him. Muschietti's still producing, who I think I assume that's his wife, and Carlton Cuse, of course, is still producing it. He's the one who's been instrumental. He's the one who's been trying to find it a new home through his Genre Arts production company. So just to remind you what this is, written by Joe Hill, Lock and Key revolves around the 3 siblings who, after a gruesome murder of their father, move to their ancestral home in Maine. Of course, it's Steve. You can tell Stephen King's family member wrote this, because it's set in Maine. Yeah. Moves in Maine with their mother Nina, only to find the house has magical keys, giving them a vast array of powers and abilities. Little do they know, a devious demon also wants the keys and will stop at nothing to attain them. Staying on from the 3 young actors is the It co-star Jackson Robert Scott. He was the younger brother, Georgie, in the movie.
Right,
so he's the younger one. I assume he's the youngest of the 3 kids. I think the other 2 are teenagers. Interestingly, the mom is played by Frances O'Connor, who I assume is staying on as well, because it doesn't mention replacing her. So,
okay.
I think she's sticking around. So So that's good, because I've actually got 5 volumes of Locke and Key on my Comixology waiting to be read, and I've just still not done it. But
I've got the first one because they gave it out for free at some point.
But I've heard really good things. I've always wanted this show to happen. Apparently the original pilot that happened like 5 years ago was really good. It was shown at Comic-Con, just didn't get picked up. Then this almost happened, didn't get picked up, but now Netflix are finally... So, third time is the charm, maybe. We'll see how it goes.
Give it a couple of weeks if we hear anything definitive. Because
yeah,
Netflix have been pretty consistent with once they announce something, it usually happens, just takes a while.
And this is another example of Netflix greenlighting something that's right up our alley for checking out.
It is. They just keep giving us shit.
Now, we're not done in this roller coaster ride just yet.
Oh God, what now?
Because something else that wasn't going forward is now going forward.
Do I care about this one?
I feel like there was a time when something was decided that it wasn't going forward or it was cancelled, that was it, it was dead. There was no chance of it ever happening. Now it's like, no. You can go to other places and maybe get it picked up elsewhere.
Yeah. Now it tells me, okay, if no one wants it, this is just not a good pilot.
Yes. Whereas, if someone doesn't want it, then someone else does. That says that it didn't fit on their network or their streaming platform, but maybe it does fit.
Maybe it wasn't within their budget. They wanted to give it less budget, but for whatever reason, they weren't that confident in it.
But anyway, I know you're looking forward to this one. LA's Finest, the Bad Boys spin-off with Gabrielle Union and Jessica Alba. Here's the interesting part of this story, though.
It's changing the name.
It's not changing the name. So, we mentioned the last week or maybe 2 weeks ago that Charter Communications was in talks to pick it up. Now, there was actually an update on that like a couple of days ago saying that they're even closer. Like, Sony and Charter Communications are really, really close to making a deal, right? Mm. And that still might happen for the US. However,
here we go.
Canada broadcaster Bell Media has already struck a deal. So it's happening regardless of the Charter Communications thing. Canada's already stepped in, so it's got a Canadian home.
Okay, so now we just need to see where it ends up everywhere else, because it's happening now.
It's definitely happening now. But yeah, it's going to be a 13-episode season 1, and it'll air on one of their, this is what they said, specialty entertainment channels.
I don't know what this is.
I assume Bell Media's a cable provider, and they've got a bunch of their own channels.
Right.
Where it's going to go, but
that's a weird way of putting it, right?
Whatever, I don't know. Canadians be Canadian.
Yeah, weird bastards.
It's a very polite way of saying it's one of our channels. So yeah, apparently the pilot cost $12 million to make. Sony are obviously really excited about getting it done. So yeah, so it's close to a home in the US. It's got a home in Canada, so it's definitely happening now. Interestingly, there was more of a description with it this time as well. That gives a bit more of the plot. So I shall tell you that now, and you shall enjoy it.
Oh, will I now?
That's a promise. It's a flash fact. The series stars Union and Sid Burnett, last seen in Miami taking down a drug cartel. Like 15 years ago now?
I was going to say 20, but I think I'm being just ballparking.
2003. It was 2003. Having left her complicated past behind her to become an LAPD detective and pursue all of the fun that LA offers. But things get a little crazy when her new partner, Nancy McKenna, played by Alba, a working mum with an equally complex past, learns that Sid's unapologetic lifestyle might be masking a greater personal secret. These two have completely different approaches and don't agree on much, but they find common ground when it comes to taking on the most dangerous criminals in LA in this action-packed, character-driven drama. I will say that hearing that it
sounds like Bad Boys, right?
It does. I will say that hearing that it's 13 episodes and now it's coming from these sources, and it sounds a bit more serialized to me now. It doesn't sound to me like it's going to be Case of the Week from that description anymore.
No, where was it we were explaining before? What network?
It was NBC before this.
Yeah, that was going to be Case of the Week.
Yeah, this feels like it may have some Cases of the Week, but it sounds like there'll at least be an overarching plot.
Yeah, 13 episodes, maybe.
Yes.
I'm not sure I care, but maybe.
I mean, we're trying out the pilot, right?
Yeah.
We have to check it out.
Probably.
We did Rush Hour. We did Lethal Weapon.
We're going to continue the trend of
Bad Boys
action movies become TV shows, right?
We got to do LA's Finest, Bad Girls. So I just the things that stick out to me there in terms of like mimicking the movie. Now it's hard to say what the character's going to be like. I don't remember her character in the movie being the Will Smith of them, but certainly the fact that she is single and has a partying lifestyle and that Alba's the mum does remind me of the dynamic, because Martin Lawrence had the family, he had the kids. So it seems like they're at least trying to do that part of it. Whether or not the comedy is the same between them, I don't know. But
I think a lot of it is going to depend on the rapport between the two of them.
Yeah. But hey, so it's happening. Somehow they found a way.
I mean, why not?
I'll tell you this though,
why the hell not?
If they bring back the catchy main theme from the first movie, Bad Boys 2 didn't have it, but the first Bad Boys movie had a really catchy main theme. If they bring that back,
you're in.
I'll get an extra point in the pilot at the very least.
Yeah, okay.
So, next up, okay, we're back to things kind of ending.
Oh god, up and down this week.
The show's not ending itself, but I thought this was, even though we don't talk about this show that much, I thought this was interesting. Andrew Lincoln is leaving The Walking Dead during season 9, and I think that's interesting because he's the main character since season 1.
What season are we on now?
I think season 9's coming up, and that's the one that he's leaving during.
Right, okay.
At first it sounded like it was going to be at the end of the season, but apparently now it's he'll be in 6 episodes of the new season. So, interesting.
So about half, right?
It's interesting because, I mean, I don't want to get into spoiler details here, but I will say that, at least as far as I know in the comics, he's still around. The character's still
I
going.
believe so, yeah.
Yeah, as is other characters who have already died in the show.
They have taken some liberties.
Yes, which is fine. If they want to do their own thing, whatever.
It is very much its own beast at this point.
Yeah, especially since apparently Daryl, the fan favourite who wasn't in the comics, is essentially going to become the main character.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that is that apparently he's got a new $20 million contract. It's like, oh, we're losing Lincoln, shit. Okay, everyone likes Daryl. Let's pay him a lot of money to keep him around. Because as much as the ratings have been a bit lower this past season, it still does really well for AMC. Yeah. So I feel like they're working really hard, despite the fact that they've got multiple lawsuits based on the show between Frank Darabont and I think the creator Robert Kirkman ended up wanting to sue them for something as well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure that was the thing. Because I remember laughing at it because they were already being sued by Frank Darabont for all the behind the scenes stuff in season 1 and 2.
I thought the show was still produced through Kevin's company.
Don't ask me to tell you what the story was, but there was definitely a story.
I'll tell you what. I don't recall it, but weird.
But yeah, so yeah.
What's interesting is they're still splitting these seasons in half, right?
I think so.
Because they air half, then they go to the other show and do half of that one.
Yeah.
So six. That could be the end of the first half. I think that sounds plausible.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they're going to kill him.
I mean, that's usually how you leave that show, right?
Oh no, this was with the second lawsuit. No, wait, what? Oh no, there's a Robert Kirkman. Oh, there's 3 lawsuits. What? Right, so I was right. There's a Robert Kirkman one. Let's read this one.
I'm intrigued now.
Oh, see this private policy thing that everyone's doing now?
Oh, I know.
Continue to article. Forbes, stop messing with me. Right. In the past few weeks, AMC... When was this? There's not an obvious... Oh, here we go. This was September last year. September 2017.
Okay, cool.
In the past few weeks, AMC has been hit with 2 pretty major blows by the creator of Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman. The first came when Kirkman and his company Skybound Entertainment signed a deal with Amazon. Yeah, because Kirkman's now an exclusive content creator for Amazon. He's got a thing over there now. Then Monday that week, we learned that Kirkman, as well as series producers Glenn Mazzara, David Alpert and Galen Hurd, are suing AMC, stating that they were not receiving their fair share of the show's profits. So yeah, and you had seen this headline at some point.
So it was going through their production company to some level.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember Galen Hurd was a producer, because Galen Hurd, she did a lot. She did Terminator and stuff. She produced a bunch of movies over her career. I knew her name when the show started. But yeah, so they're sued. What's this other one? so sued because apparently AMC are screwing them out of profits, and then the other one is apparently there was the wrongful death of a stuntman, and they were being sued over that.
Yeah, I recall.
Jeez. So obviously the show's still doing well enough that they're willing to
keep fighting through all this.
Yeah, I mean, damn. So there you go. I knew I wasn't just making that up.
I'm shocked it's on season 9 already. When did that happen?
Do you know what's funny? It makes sense.
Snuck up on you, doesn't it, though?
It doesn't. I always feel that with TV. I think because TV seasons, because of the way they overlap years often. Now, this is a cable one, but this one actually still does this because they split it like this. But because of the way they split it over Christmas, it does this thing where you get to like season, and it's actually only been 4 years since the show started, but it's season 5 we're on now, so it feels longer than it actually is. But it does sneak up on you. It feels really weird because, you know, I've been catching up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm watching season 5, and I'm like, this feels like yesterday this premiered. Like,
I think it's what you don't. It doesn't happen with shows that you watch week to week. You don't feel it when you're watching them. It's when it's something that you don't necessarily follow, and then you hear about it, and you're like, wait, that's on what?
Yeah.
Because you're not as necessarily in the loop. You don't pay as much attention to it.
Yeah, but no, it does. It makes time feel like oddly. Because I remember reading the comic because the show was about to start. I thought, oh, I'll read some of the comic, and I read a lot of the comic.
And you know, as much as that show went downhill, still one of the best pilots ever.
Fantastic pilot. It went down really quickly after that, but the pilot was fantastic. But that was the thing.
I absolutely understand why you greenlight this show based on that pilot.
Oh yeah, that Frank Darabont directed pilot. You know, the guy who did Shawshank, The Mist, Green Mile, like, you know, him, like, he did that pilot as a fantastic pilot of TV, and then it just kind of started to go downhill. And then you find out that even before he was officially, you know, off the show, there was already trouble behind the scenes. And I'm like, okay, that explains why it already felt a bit rocky.
Yeah, because then you had the older actor. I can't remember his name now, the character's name.
Yeah, the regular guy who's in all of his movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted off the show.
He was like, nah, you're treating him bad. I'm pissing off.
Yeah, because that character was meant to survive for a long time based on the comics, but not in the show. So, yeah. But hey, so yeah.
What's the drama?
Worth mentioning as well that Lauren Cohen, who's also on the show, is one of the main characters. She's been around since season 2, so she's another big prominent character. She's just, you know, had her other show, Whiskey Cavalier, greenlit for mid-season, so she's also reduced her episode count, and this will probably be her final season, Walking Dead as well. So 2 major characters are probably getting killed off this next season.
I think this is the thing with adapting such a long-running series. You know, it's 150, 170, I don't know now, some stupidly high issues, and you know, you can't feasibly lock in actors for that long consistently on a TV show.
I don't even think that is relevant, because as we've already discussed, it's not even close to what the. I mean, the show is nothing like the comic at this point, so it's just. I mean, this is just a show that keeps going. This is the way I see it. It's no different from any other show that goes 9 seasons and actors going off of it. Presumably, you know, contracts start. You know, we're up after X number of seasons.
I think it's slightly different when it's based on something, because they had something in mind, right? That they're like, okay, we've got a direction to follow.
I feel like they gave up on a lot of that so early on, though, that it doesn't really matter as much now.
I keep going every time there's a new season coming. I see all the articles like, oh, they're actually doing this thing from the comics. Yeah, it's like, oh, and every season it feels like they kind of go with the angle, or the media leans into the angle of, oh, they're getting back to what the comics are, and then it just pisses off into something else entirely.
Yeah, we spend 9 episodes in a freaking barn doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in the farmhouse. So the barn was the end of the mid-season, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So it was one set.
Rough. Yeah, because apparently Lauren Cohen, like, there was contract disputes based on like her new show being picked up, and they had to kind of like wrangle it out. And now I think she's done about half a dozen episodes, so they might even die together. They might even get both characters going out in a blaze of glory. Why not? But hey, so no, clearly they want to go and do different things. So next up, better casting for a show that we have talked about before from Netflix. This is Chambers. Do you remember this one?
Not by name. I might remember the description though.
That's funny because I remember the name but not the description when I noticed it. This is the one. It's a Netflix show written by Leah Rachel and co-showrun with Akela Cooper. Chambers settles on a young heart attack survivor who becomes consumed by the mystery surrounding the heart that saved her life. However, the closer she gets to uncovering the truth about her donor's sudden death, the more she starts taking on the characteristics of the deceased, some of which are troublingly sinister.
I remember this now, because it's the haunted hand thing.
Yeah, well, Uma Thurman has been cast in it as the mother of the deceased. So it's her daughter that she's becoming now that she's got her heart. Thurman will play Nancy, the mother of the heart donor, who forges a hesitant relationship with the young recipient, only to find that her daughter may not be as dead as she thought. So we got a big name. There you go. Uma Thurman's in there.
Like I say, I didn't remember the name, but I do remember the premise because I remember laughing at how it's just you gave someone a haunted hand.
Yeah.
And I thought they're actually doing a serious show based on that, essentially.
Yeah, we're totally checking this out.
Yeah.
Next up, FX has greenlit a comedy called... Well, I don't know if it's called this. I've not actually named it. I assume it's just the name of the comedian. Lil Dicky. So Lil Dicky is a rapper and a comedian. Real name is David Bird. That's with a U, not Bird. Bird. Like, I feel like I'm just saying it like a Scotsman, but Bird.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
Yeah. Because in Scottish dialect, sometimes it sounds like you're saying bird with a U. But,
Yes.
so it feels weird for me to emphasise that, like, bird.
Yeah, I feel that it's for me as well, like bird and bird.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just leaning into my slang rather than saying like a proper word. But the series centres around a suburban neurotic man in his late 20s who has convinced himself that he's destined to be one of the best rappers of all time. Now he must convince the rest of the world. So it's one of these things where it's kind of like him playing himself and it's based on his own sort of stuff.
Yeah, the semi-autobiographical comedian thing.
Yeah, which can work. I mean, I've not been a big fan of the stuff from FX in that vein. Typically, I don't really like Louis. I mean, no one likes Louis anymore, given what he's.
No, but people were a big fan of that show.
Yeah, people liked it. Yeah, before the I don't know.
Yeah.
Penis gate.
Allegations.
What do you want to call it?
I was being polite, I guess.
I don't know. I was trying to think of a funny name for it. What can I say? But hey, so that's the thing. The League co-creator Jeff Schaffer is also going to be co-writing it with him. So if you're a fan of the League, you've got some name attached to it. All right, next up, Apple has given a straight-to-series order for a half-hour series about 19th century poet Emily Dickinson.
About time we got something else from Apple. Been a few months. we had like one a week for like 2 months.
Yeah, it's not been that long though. It's not been a few months.
Feels like it.
I think it's been a month tops. Joe, it's fine. I know I already did my Buffy reference, and you know what's funny? I did my Buffy reference on a really serious topic earlier. Which
yeah, that was weird.
It felt weird, but hey. But here's a funner one. So Emily Dickinson. I remember the first time I heard of Emily Dickinson was because she was brought up in an episode of Buffy. Because Buffy pretended to like Emily Dickinson to impress Owen, the boy she liked in that episode. In a season 1 episode called Never Kill a Boy on the First Date. And she incorrectly calls her Emily Dickens. And it's corrected.
Okay.
Do you know what? I realised last week that I never made any Buffy references in the movie news, and I felt really bad about it, so I'm making up for it.
I'm making up for it this week. Well, can we do that in the movie news, not in this one?
I'll do it in the movie news as well. Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake. Pick one, not both.
So, yeah, so there's no title for... I mean, it might just be called Emily Dickinson. I can see it's been called Dickinson. I feel like that would probably sound...
Probably.
Right. But anyway, Haley Stanfield is going to star in it.
Oh, I'm in.
You didn't care, and then your weird crush because...
Suddenly I was like, oh, there's someone I like.
Yeah. So Haley Steinfeld is going to star in the show. The series is described as a comedic look into Dickinson's world, exploring the constraints of society, gender, and family from the perspective of a budding writer who doesn't fit into her own time through her imaginative point of view. So, cool. There's potential there. David Gordon Green is attached to direct and executive produce. Alana Smith is going to write and executive produce. So, there you go.
Definitely give it a shot.
Next up, SyFy has ordered a drama based on the Dark Horse comic series Resident Alien.
I'm not familiar, but I want to know more.
The story, I mean, I'd prefer Resident Evil, but I mean,
I reserve judgment until I know more.
The story centres on a crash-landed alien named Harry. Perfect name for
why not?
An alien. In fact, that was one of the names of Third Rock from the Sun. Tom, Dick, and Harry. That was one of them. And even that itself is funny, by the way, the Tom, Dick, and Harry thing. So after taking on the identity of a small-town Colorado doctor, he slowly begins to wrestle with the moral dilemma of his secret mission on Earth, ultimately asking the question, are human beings worth saving? The comic was created by Peter Hogan and
Resident
Steve Parkhurst.
Alien.
Ah, yeah, doctor.
Because I didn't know it was a doctor, I just thought it was, we've got one.
Yeah, we've got one.
He lives here.
This is okay. I mean, I don't know what the tone is. It sounds like it might be slightly comical, just based on the kind of outlandishness of it.
It sounds like a dark comedy crossed with a medical drama.
Yeah, I'm thinking dark comedy. I think it's the way to describe it. I feel like if you describe this with different language, I'd maybe assume, it's like the Americans, but he's an alien, right? Like that could be what this is if it was described differently. But I feel like the way they word it, I'm getting more comical out of it.
I do too.
And even the name, Resident Alien, you wouldn't call your alien version of the Americans that. You'd call it the aliens.
Just the alien, probably. Yeah.
No, the Earthlings.
Yeah. Okay,
There
take
you
that
go.
twist. You're right.
Yeah, I'm just hitting it with gold this week.
That finished this week, right?
Sorry?
The Americans.
It
That
did, yeah,
finished
the
this week.
finale was this week, yeah.
People were pretty positive on the finale.
Yeah, it was when we missed the boat, and it was already in like season 3 when we started reviewing things, so we never went back and caught up. But
Finales are a big deal because obviously it's hit or miss. You got to land it to stick your show down, and people seem happy with it.
I wonder if the Cold War ended. I wonder if the Soviet Union fell. Was that the end of the show? I don't know.
I have no idea.
But hey, next up, Entertainment One has acquired the TV rights to Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanin's upcoming novel, An Anonymous Girl, to develop it as a novel-long series. So no network, of course. Entertainment One is a production company. But so Anonymous Girl is a psychological thriller from the authors of The Wife Between Us. It's set to publish in 2019 in January. It centers on Jessica Farrell. I was going to say Francesca. I was combining the two words like the other way around. That was weird.
That from?
I don't know. I went cross-eyed for a second. I think I saw them in order. So yeah, Jessica Farris, who answers the following ad: seeking women ages 18 to 32 to participate in a study on ethics and morality, generous compensation, and anonymity guaranteed. So there's more to it than that, but that was just kind of the. It reminds me of Safety Not Guaranteed, where they kind of sold that. Here's the plot of the movie: someone's looking for a time traveling companion. But here's the extended synopsis of it. When Jess signs up for the psychology study conducted by the mysterious Dr. Shields, she thinks that she'll have to do is answer a few questions, collect her money, and leave. But as the questions grow more intense and invasive, and the sessions become outings where Jess is told what to wear and how to act, she begins to feel as though Dr. Shields may know what she's thinking and what she's hiding. As Jessie's paranoia grows, it becomes clear that she can no longer trust what in her life is real, and what is one of Dr. Shields' manipulative experiments. Caught in the web of deceit and jealousy, Jess quickly learns that some obsessions can be deadly.
Sounds alright.
It does actually. I thought, like the first little opening bit was okay, but when it got to the whole idea this is going to be like really messing with her psychology.
Yeah, I think this has got to have some strong direction.
It does, yeah.
Otherwise, this could feel really just mundane and generic.
Yeah, it has to really play with she starts to not believe what's around her. Like you know, she's starting to doubt, is this something that he set up? Yeah,
this has to be like a premium cable thing with some strong hand on it. This can't be just a network show.
Yeah, and it's something that's going to be like a 10-episode season, I assume. Like it's got that kind of feel to it. If they handle it right, I can see this being a really good psychological story if they really go for it. So that's cool. That leads us to our last news story of the week. NBC has put in development a horror drama called Cul-De-Sac from Brian Sieve, who was one of the writers from the Scream TV show. I won't hold that against him though, because this sounds kind of interesting actually when I get into it. Director Larissa Kondraki is involved, and it comes from Blumhouse TV. So the idea for this is that this would be the first in an anthology show, not called Cul-De-Sac, but it would be referred to as Blumhouse Presents. So this would be Blumhouse Presents Cul-De-Sac, and then season 2 would be Blumhouse Presents whatever.
Yeah.
And I like that idea. I think that's a fun idea, to sort of do your especially since Blumhouse are kind of the horror studio now with movies.
It's kind of feeling like Channel Zero sort of thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, it's like okay, that's the brand, but here's your story.
Yeah, so that's the idea. Cul-de-sac is a serialized drama about 3 families living in a suburban cul-de-sac who begin to experience terrifying events and come to realise there's something sinister invading their perfect middle-class dream. That's very vague. We don't know what the threat is. I do like that setting, though. I like the small town, like, families all on the same street, something weird's going on. It's kind of like a serious version of The Burbs kind of thing. I'm into the idea. I like the idea of the story, but I also like the idea of the Blumhouse Presents.
Yeah. No, I do like that. I think it's interesting to see them branching out. I mean, it's still horror, don't get me wrong, but branching out into TV and really kind of pushing their boundaries a bit.
Yeah, I just hope NBC, I hope it's something that ends up, obviously I don't expect it to be the hardest hitting thing ever, even though they did Hannibal and other things, but I'm almost expecting a little bit of tongue-in-cheek with this to make it work on network. Maybe not quite full on Scream Queens, but...
Yeah. No, I'm with you. A bit satirical with it.
Yeah, a bit satirical, maybe a bit light-hearted, but, still with the fun element.
I think it is worth knowing, though, Hannibal did prove what they're willing to do. Right.
It proved what they're willing to do, but then it didn't really do that well and get cancelled.
Right. But it proved that they were willing to put that out and have it
sure, yeah.
unfiltered to a fault, arguably. But it was what it was, for better and worse.
So obviously this is something we're in. I mean, horror anthologies are kind of like, oh yeah, we're checking that out for sure.
Bread and butter stuff, right?
Yeah. So that's Cul-De-Sac. That's Blumhouse Presents Cul-De-Sac. So that's the news, which takes us on to the end of the show, which does let us look at what came out in the past week, TV episode wise. We of course did review Handmaid's Tale, Westworld, Legion, The Expanse, and that's it. Yeah, we had a few things end last week, so it was
slightly quieter week. Yeah,
slightly quieter.
We're winding down a bit now.
Still. Heavy competition there, I think, just on those names alone. Legion had a weaker week. Don't get me wrong. Weaker week. That was pure English. Legion had a weaker episode. But Expanse, Handmaid's Tale, and Westworld were all doing pretty good stuff.
They were, yeah.
And what's interesting is I think I actually have to. I think I'm picking Expanse this week.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. I think Westworld had phenomenal ideas. And it got us thinking. But I don't think it quite clicked for me.
Yeah, honestly, I think this week Westworld's third. Which it was last week, because it had maybe his weaker episode last week, but I'm not saying that...
still, it wasn't a weak episode.
Yeah, it wasn't a weak episode. Handmaid's Tale was just really good, really damn good, and then Expanse, I think, was the crown jewel this week.
Yeah, I came out of Expanse so excited.
It was funny, actually, is I thought Expanse last week was even better, but did Expanse win last week for us? I can't remember.
It did, yeah.
It did, okay. For some reason I thought something else was even better than that last week, and I'd picked that instead. But
no,
okay.
We went with Expanse because it was, it's so bold in what it did last week.
There you go, Expanse gets a 2-week streak. There you go, fun stuff.
Do you know what, when that season started, it was like, okay, no, we're looking forward to this. But when you hit it up against Westworld and Handmaid's Tale, I thought, okay, that's it, done for the season, right?
Yeah, it's not going to win the weeks unless they're off.
Yeah, but hey, credit to it.
No, I mean, I actually kind of like that, looking back on what I've picked since all those seasons started. I think I've neatly jumped around. I think, I've had a couple of Handmaid's Tales, I've had 1 or 2 Westworlds, and now I've had 2 Expanses. Like, I like that it's kind of that they're fighting for it.
Yeah. I think I've been typically leaning more towards Westworld than you. But I might have picked Handmaid's Tale a couple of weeks ago. With the Shogun episode. I might have done that week. I'm not sure.
No, that was last week.
That last week?
Yeah.
Oh, that was, yeah. So I picked Expanse, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking where we do it in the week. I'm throwing myself off because Westworld's so long ago by the time we get to this.
I know. It's just when we record news, but here we are. So obviously get those reviews. As mentioned at the start, we've got a few episodes left of Dear White People. We've got 2 episodes left of 3%. We were meant to do a 3% at the end of last week, and that recording had to get cancelled due to some... That's why there's been a big gap. There's been a relatively big gap between episodes 8 and 9. But don't worry.
Frustrating part of the season for it to happen.
It is a frustrating part because we're ramping up to the end. But episode 9 is coming soon this weekend, and then episode 10 should be early next week. Dear White People will continue and will likely be done, if not the end of next week, then early the week after that. But that'll speed up a little bit because 3%'s finished. And which is actually exciting because it means that soon Star Trek, the original series episode reviews that we do, will be back. They'll be coming back in early... Well, we're in June now, but it'll be early June. I think patrons will get an early one next week, and then they'll start going up publicly for everyone the week after that. So that is something to look forward to TV-wise. And worth mentioning as well, our first almost cancelled extra episode will be coming up in the next week or two as well for patrons at the $3 tier and up, so you can check out that. Check out patreon.com/MailFuzzTV in general, because there's bonuses and things, and you can feel good and warm inside because you help support us a little bit. But you can of course support us in other ways too, like liking, subscribing, comment, and letting us know what you thought of the news and everything else. All of it helps. And what else do I say? Twitter's at Twitter. At mail_fuzz at Twitter. You can get us at mail_fuzz on Twitter for channel updates. You can get me at Wibble89. Connor's at Twitter if you want it.
I am. It's Connor994. I can read it off the screen. It's nice.
There you go. Well, I mean, I think the audio people don't get to see that though, so that's why I thought
they don't. But it's nice for me to have it to read because I don't have to think about it.
I'll mention it once in a while for the audio folk. But that is this week's news. So thank you very much for joining us on this ridiculous journey through the ups and downs and the roller coasters of controversies and cancellations and renewals when there wasn't supposed to be renewals, and shows that were supposed to happen and didn't happen. And
TV news just makes no sense anymore.
Yes, it's been a hell of a week. Not a lot. I mean, there's not been a lot of news this week, but there was an interesting mix of stuff. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. I always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?